What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is the episode that I would show somebody if they were like, "Hey, Mason, do you think I should watch Elementary?" I'd be like, "Dude, watch this episode." This is exactly what Elementary is. This is what Sherlock Holmes is. Let me take a breath. This is a really, really good episode. This is a Sherlock Holmes case. This is exactly the type of stuff that I would expect Sherlock Holmes to solve if he were a modern day Sherlock Holmes living in New York. This is the type of stuff he would be solving. This is exactly the type of stuff he would be solving. You've got mystery, you've got intrigue, you've got imposters. It's all there. It's all there. And at one point, like I taped it, and I'm watching it this morning, the day after, and I was making myself lunch, and so I paused it right after Holmes had just told Bell. He had said something about Bell had his idea of, well, maybe it's a illegitimate daughter of Mr. Davenport. Maybe that's what. And Holmes had just said, oh, actually I've got a better idea. And I like mine more than yours, which was hysterical, by the way. But I had paused it right there, and I was making myself lunch, and while I was making it, this is exactly what was going on, like play-by-play stuff, right? Like I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, now what if? Ooh, what if the cop is the one that took her, and they were actually working together, and he was pretending to help? Ooh, no. What if the parents did kill the daughter, but then she killed the cop, but they're covering for her because they don't want people to know that that's not really. Ooh, no. What if she was actually working with somebody else to kidnap the daughter, so she has the strands of hair, so the strands of hair they found in the bathroom are not hers, and it was just. I spent like 5 minutes just theorizing what it could be. What could it be? What happened? And that's what a Sherlock case should get you to do. That's exactly what any mystery show, really, that's what it should get you to do. You should be able to sit there for like 5 minutes and go, I'm going to try to figure this out. Because I've got all the clues, but she's a really good liar. So, and that's exactly what I did. I was just theorizing, this thing may have happened, this thing may have happened. And it turns out, yeah, that was actually Mina's hair in the bathroom, not hers, that she had poured all over the floor and pretended to shave her head. I did not account for the fact, though, that Mina was still alive and actually living with the guy that had taken her. That was an interesting twist, and one I did not see coming. That was one of the things that I did not account for, was the fact that Mina might still be alive. Like, I thought that she was definitely dead, and that, like, somebody had killed her. But that's my point I'm trying to make, is that if you're watching a Sherlock Holmes case, or if you're reading about it in one of Arthur Conan Doyle's stories, you should be wanting to solve the mystery yourself. You should want to be, like, figuring out everything along with Sherlock. And obviously, you most of the time you're not nearly as good as Sherlock Holmes is, but you should still be with him most of the way. You should still be wanting to figure things out as you go along, like taking this clue and putting it together, and then this clue. And so all of this information, making theories of, well, this may have happened, and this may have happened, and that may have happened too. So just to start it off, that's exactly what I want to say about this, is that this is a great Sherlock Holmes story. This is a great Sherlock Holmes case. This is a great episode. Other than that, though, some other good stuff along with the case, because, obviously everything going on with the parents, and all of it seemed plausible. Like, all of the different ideas that came up seemed plausible. When the girl came in and said, I think they may have killed her daughter, like, I didn't kill that guy, I didn't. It all seemed plausible. Like, all of it's like, okay, so she could be telling the truth right now, but then again, she's a really good liar, so. And Sherlock didn't seem to believe her, so it's like, so is she really lying? Like, I don't know what to believe anymore. What is going on? And so it's always nice to see that they're not just they did cancel out some of the ideas. Like whenever the father came in and confessed to murdering Underhill, it was like, okay, so the parents didn't kill him, which means maybe the imposter did, and that's that from there you can kind of make your own deductions after the fact. Um, Also going on alongside the case, which I'm just going to touch on for a little bit before I get back into it, Watson dealing with her stepfather. I did enjoy it. It wasn't too distracting, so it was a good amount of time to visit that story. Because some shows I think go a little bit too in depth and like get distracted on the personal side of things instead of focusing on what's the main issue here. And then some stories don't focus on it enough. I think this one touched on it just the right amount. She, at the beginning, she finds out from what's his name, Gregson. She finds out from Gregson that there's a book written about her and Sherlock, but not using their names. She immediately deduces that it's her stepfather based on the pseudonym used, and then she confronts him. And then at the end, near the end, she's talking to him again. And he's just like, look, I'm sorry. I just wanted to get closer to you, and this seemed like the way to do it. And at the end, she realizes that you can do that if you want to. I was being too hard on you. I was holding a grudge because of what you did to my mom and the affair. So it was a very nice story and very well done. Not too distracting and not completely just pushed to the side and not focused on at all. Because I feel like it may come back later as far as her stepfather goes. But back to the case, I don't want to do like a complete recap, because I feel like if you are watching this review, you've probably seen the show, and I feel like I do that in some of my reviews way too much. Like I actually recap the episode, but it does help to kind of recap it to touch on certain things. But I think the important things I want to touch on are, one, the case itself and how good it was, which I've already done. Two, I want to touch on Sherlock's, the way he handles the case. Somewhere in the middle of season 2 or season 3, I can't remember which season it was now, but somewhere in the middle of one of those two seasons, Sherlock seemed to go away from him for a bit. And I don't think this is in fault to Johnny Lee Miller. I think he plays the character of Sherlock pretty well. But some of the cases and some of the deductions that he was making, some of it didn't feel like Sherlock. It felt like he was hindered by something, like he wasn't seeing the whole story. And I think it was season 2 that his brother was involved, and he got involved with Joan, and all that happened, and then his brother was suspected of this or terrorism or something. During that time, he seemed like he was not as good at solving crimes, and yeah, some of it may have been distraction of the brother, but it still felt like Holmes wasn't himself. And they never really touched on it. If they had touched on the fact that whenever his brother gets involved, he isn't himself, I would have been okay with it, but they never did. He was not himself, he was not figuring things out as he normally did, and that was it. They never talked about it, they never discussed that, it's Mycroft's fault, he gets involved and Sherlock just shuts down and can't figure stuff out. So they never did really talk about it that much, and it seemed like it stayed around too long, this hiccup in his detective skills. In this episode, once again, like I said, he's back. He is a great detective, and here we see why. One second of talking to this girl, and he's like, she's an imposter. It's just it's the ears. Most of the time, the eyes are the window to the soul, but this time, it's the ears. And even Joan's yeah, I picked up on that too. I think I may have talked about before how I enjoy the fact that she's kind of become a detective as well, that almost rivals him. Obviously, he's got certain things that he sees that she can't because they're so small and insignificant, at least to most of us, not to Holmes. But I do like the fact that she has become a detective in her own right. She's figured out how to solve crimes as well, which is something that Watson has never really normally he's not doing. When I think about other Sherlock Holmes stories, normally Watson's just, he's still smart. He's a doctor, so he knows stuff about medicine, and he knows stuff about bodies and stuff like that, but he's not a detective. He's always there to help Holmes. He's not there to solve the murder himself. which, not that it's never been done, but normally it's not done to this extent where Holmes is actually teaching her how to be a detective. And so it's nice to see them work together as equals almost. And then finally, the last thing I want to touch on is the ending. I don't think this is the end of the story for that girl because, first of all, we kind of suspect that she's the one that killed him, but it's never confirmed. Like, all that was found was blood in the car, and she's just like, I can think of, right now I just thought of 6 different reasons to explain that away. And even then, like, the daughter didn't know who she was. The guy that took the daughter didn't know who she was. So it's like, how did she figure out all of this stuff? And how did she know where to find the daughter? How did she know all of this? You know, like, it just, there's so much about her that went unexplained that I feel like this is not the end of the story for this girl. Like, I feel like she's gonna come back later. And I mean, she's such a good, like, villain's not really the right word, but she does seem like she might be a little bit crazy. Just the way she's looking at Holmes at the end, like, yeah, how old are you really? She's like, 15? Oh no, wait, 25? Or some other number. It's just like, you're crazy. You're just a little bit, tiny bit, more than a little bit crazy. So, I do like the fact that it kind of ended on a open ending, I guess. Like, a lot of this is left up to interpretation because I feel like they're bringing it back later. At least I hope so. If she never shows up again, I'll be very disappointed. But I do feel like she's at least coming back later this season. And, yeah, it was... there's not a whole lot more I can say other than it was a really great episode. Really good case. And that's why I watched this show. If you watch some of my other reviews, you know there are certain reasons why I watch each of the shows I do. Some of them have really, really good stories. Some of them have really good characters. This one I watch because the cases are just, they're great. They rival Sherlock Holmes's cases from back in the day, and to do that week after week after week and only have like a few slip-ups in like the second season, that's very impressive. To be able to come up with all these interesting cases with twists and turns around every corner, that's really well done. And the people behind the show are really good writers too. So I'm excited to see where they take the rest of the season. I'm excited to see if this girl does come back, if she's a part of something much bigger like this organization of con men, maybe. That would be interesting. But yeah, so excited to see where it goes. Leave me a comment down below if you agree or disagree. We'll talk about it. Let me know what you think is coming next as far as the story with this girl. Leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more elementary stuff. Check out my other videos. A lot of TV shows to watch. A lot of reviews to do. Yeah, I spend a lot of time doing videos and watching TV. See you at the next review. Peace out.